Hey everyone, over the years something has really been bothering me, and it revolves around everyone's favorite objective, Dragon. Actually, it doesn't just revolve around it is basically just Dragon. Dragon is easily the biggest bait in League of Legends. It's one of the most misunderstood objectives in the game, even at a professional level. Yes, I'm serious, even professional players and coaches get baited by this objective and put way too much value on it. To be fair to them, at a higher level, small stat increases mean more because there are less mistakes. But there are still so many times they take unnecessary risk and throw games for it. In solo queue, however, Dragon is basically useless. I know this sounds crazy, but hear me out. My explanations will convince you, I hope. In this video, I'm going to completely break down why Dragon is a bait and how you can use it to get guaranteed gold with basically zero risk involved, and also when, and more importantly, why you should ever go to Dragon. And you know what else is a guarantee with no risk involved? Improving fast at skillcap.com. We take the highest priority skills you need to learn to climb ranks fast, such as wave control, and then break it down into a step-by-step course of bite-sized 1 to 2 minute videos that are easy to understand. So while you wait for your next game to start, you can learn freezing, fast pushing, slow pushing, bouncing waves, the list goes on, all in just a few minutes to maximize your improvement rate. These courses have been getting 5-star ratings from all of our users, raving at how helpful they are. That's not all though, as every week we release 10 brand new Smurf commentaries where a challenger player teaches you how to climb out of the exact rank you're stuck in. If you're looking for something more personal instead, then we got you covered with one-on-one coaching from our trained challenger experts. All this seems too good to be true? Well, don't worry, we're backed by a rank up guarantee. If you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCap, then you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and get the rank you've always wanted. Alright, now let's get into why Dragon is the biggest bait in League. So first, let's talk a little bit about it. Dragon is a luxury win more objective is how I describe it. It's something that gives you some bonus stats that frankly are almost never worth contesting if there's a lot of risk to it, or almost any risk. The Dragon Soul can seem very powerful, but here's the key. It is not a win condition. Don't let anyone try to convince you otherwise, especially below challenger games. It's not a win condition, the same reason why games are very, very rarely lost in draft because of team comps. There are 100 different and more important factors in the game that are deciding the outcome, like the quality of your gameplay, who would have thought. The only time team comp can decide something is in extreme scenarios like you're all AD versus Rammus and Malphite or something, and even then, it's not totally decided in draft. It's under 1% the amount of games won or lost from team comps in solo queue. I've been talking about something called Dragon Illness for 2 years now. I've been trying to develop a vaccine, but in all seriousness, players are so insanely obsessed with this objective that they will literally throw games out the window for it. I've won impossible games because the enemy team is so tunneled on getting Dragon, and I'll show you clear examples of this in a minute. Soul Dragon will never be the reason a team won a game, and I've never ever thought to myself, wow, we lost because they got sold. It's literally never happened. You see pro teams and worlds teams throw games for this objective when there are so many better plays to make. But now that I've told you this, and I'm sure most of you still don't believe me, let me show you some examples. We're going to start with something nice and simple. In this game, I'm on a Smurf in Platinum playing Riven. I just respawned and Dragon is coming up in 45 seconds. I'm very fed, easily the strongest member of my team. Camille is our top laner, because I was mid lane, and she's strong but not as fed as me. Our Shaco and bot lane are behind though. The enemy team has a fed Kai'Sa and Xin Zhao and Ashe, while the other two, Darius and Katarina, are slightly behind. Both teams have one Dragon right now. Context is important here, and you're about to see why. First, let's see what I do. I see the Dragon is coming up in 45 seconds, so I go straight to top lane from base. I push the waves, then I work on taking their tier 2 tower. I take it, and you see that plus 600 gold above my head? Delicious. After that, I clear the next wave. Then the enemy Darius shows up. Now let's pause. Fun fact, I was actually streaming this game, and when I went top here, our Camille started spam pinging me, raging at me for not coming, and proceeded to be really upset over it the entire game. She even tried to throw the game. I linked my stream, and when she came to it, I opened up the game and broke down everything I'm about to break down for you guys. And now we have one less person with Dragon Illness. But let's break it down piece by piece. First, how much gold do you think I got from the moment I left base till now? I got 1300 gold. Yes, 1300 gold in 1 minute. That's an insane amount. But here's the key. How much risk was involved here? Zero. Zero risk involved. In any game you play, fighting games, MOBAs, whatever it is, your gameplay should always be based around risk-reward. At the highest levels, that's what everyone's decision making is based on. Now let's talk about the risk if I go to the Dragon here. Look at our team comp. We have Camille, Riven, Shaco, Ezreal, Xerath. The two Fed members are Camille and Riven. What do Camille and Riven excel at? Side lane. They both can team fight, but it's nowhere near as strong as their side lane 1v1ing when ahead. They are basically unbeatable, and the enemy team can't catch them or escape them. Ezreal and Xerath are great team fighters, but they're behind, and they don't do much when behind. The enemy team has 2 reset champions, Darius and Katarina, and a fed Kai'Sa ADC with Ashe support and Xin Zhao who's strong as well. We could win a team fight. It might even be a 60% chance or 70% chance, but it would not be free by any means. It would actually be a really tricky fight if they have summoners up on Kai'Sa. And if we make a mistake and someone dies, the fight snowballs incredibly hard with Katarina and Darius resets. And do I trust any player, even in high elo, to not make a mistake? Of course not. We would give multiple shutdowns for me and Camille, the enemy team would take Dragon, then also take Baron, then the game is basically over after that. They would be ahead everywhere and have Baron to siege us, and we don't have much wave clear to deal with Baron minions. If we win the team fight, we get the same thing, but the problem is we're already winning. We don't need the Dragon at all. Dragon is not a win condition, whereas Baron can easily be one, and is much more important than Dragon. So by going top lane 45 seconds ahead of Dragon, I got a free 1300 gold with literally zero risk, whereas the other option has a ton of risk, enough risk that we could potentially lose the game if it goes wrong, and in solo queue, something always has a chance of going wrong in a 5v5. And just to be clear, 1300 gold is literally almost as much gold as if I went to Dragon and got a pentakill. Alright, now let's go a little bit later on in this game, where I'm going to use Dragon Illness again to get guaranteed zero risk reward. I'm coming out of base again, and Dragon is coming up in about 45 seconds. The enemy team now has 2 dragons, so this third one will put them at soul point. Ooh, spooky. People love using that word soul point like it even matters. But anyways, since I know Dragon is coming up and the enemy team will tunnel it like everyone else does, I go straight to Baron, and I brought a control ward with me. I put a control ward in the pit and sweep it, and what do you know? No vision at all. So I just start the Baron. My jungler isn't here, but I ping, and eventually my teammates finally came and helped me while my Camille continued to rage at me and was spam pinging to take the Dragon coming up. It took my team almost an entire 30 seconds to come to this. I almost died. I do this in a lot of Smurf games in gold, plat, or diamond, and your teammates won't listen to you every single time, but most of the time they actually do. So if you can actually spot these free Baron calls, you can take them all day. Either way, when my teammates finally came, we killed a Baron, and look at that, zero risk, we took her for free. I get free Barons almost every game in low elo like this. Let's go back to when I started it though, so you can see the enemy team. Look how they went from mid lane to Dragon, spam pinging it, completely tunneling on it. My Camille went to it as well. Surely she takes it 1v5. The enemy team gets their third Dragon here. Let's see how much it mattered. With the Baron, we head to bot lane to siege, except our Ezreal doing top scuttle for whatever reason. A fight breaks out though. With 3 dragons, surely they must be way too strong to deal with. Or not. Now, I know I'm being slightly obnoxious, but you have to understand, this is almost 3 years of watching you guys high-elo pro players throw games over this stupid objective. There's always an opportunity cost to doing Dragon. Most of the time, it's just a tempo loss, meaning the enemy team can push waves and you lose control over the map. This alone can lose games. You can take free towers all the time. There's a lot of things, but it would take a while to go into, and it would be a little bit advanced. But the main thing is, there's always free things to take when the enemy team does Dragon. You might be wondering though, well, when should we go to Dragon then? There are 2 main reasons you should go to Dragon. In both, it's never for the actual Dragon. Basically, you should only be going to Dragon when you know you can just collect free kills there, or when the enemy team is contesting it and they definitely shouldn't be. One of the best examples of that is when they just took Baron. So while they recall and head to Dragon, you are already at Dragon. So the enemy team is face checking, and that alone can easily win you a fight and swing the game. And this also means when you get Baron, do not go to Dragon, use the Baron. If the enemy team goes to Dragon, you are taking their entire base for it. If they don't, you can push all the waves, take inhibs, then take Dragon on the way out while the enemy team deals with supers. Baron is used to empower your minions. There are no minions at Dragon, so don't waste it there. Now let me show you some examples of my own viewers who have been almost cured of Dragon illness using it against the enemy team since they are still sick. This clip is from Masters MMR, high-ish elo. I love this clip because the Zed's teammate Ziggs is spam pinging Dragon like it's so important to get it. But Zed says if they go Dragon, just push top. So he heads to mid lane and pushes the wave, while the enemy team will surely go to the Dragon since they are sick like everybody else. And look, Zed's team is winning right now, and the enemy team's Pantheon is dead. But why take any risk? The enemy team has full control over the Dragon. They would be face checking. Face checking could lead to 4v5 fights where they win. So Zed pushes mid, his team pushes top, and they're just taking everything while the enemy team does Dragon. And they take top inhib at 18 minutes. With an inhib down, deaths and mistakes from the enemy team are much more punishing. So when they make the mistake of trying to fight here, wait, let's pause. This is my favorite part. While they are losing their base and everybody dying trying to defend the Nexus, look at the right side. Elise just now finished the Dragon. This entire time, she was doing Dragon. This is why it's called Dragon illness. Players would rather lose the game, but get the Dragon. It's actually unbelievable to watch, and it happens almost every game. Zed's team wins the game from this push just using Dragon as a bait. This next example is in Gold MMR. Akali comes straight from base and down mid lane where they get a pick on the enemy Sylas. With a pick like this, Dragon is never the answer. That objective is useless here, and nowhere near as important as the Baron. But the enemy team is so sick, they still want to try and take the dragon with a man down. They are prepared to fight 4v5 over the objective just like the last team. In Masters, look at the risk reward there. The risk is insane, and they are losing the game at the moment, and it would be a 4v5 fight. Watch what Akali does though. She goes straight down mid and pushes the wave while the enemy team does dragon. Now let me be clear, Akali and her team could go to dragon and kill everyone, since they're contesting 4v5 and they're ahead. But the reason I'm showing you this is for when it's not a 4v5, and there's actually some risk involved going to dragon, especially with no vision. But anyways, she takes mid tower and nobody's here to stop them, and she just keeps going while the enemy team and his own team are at dragon. They could just Baron this entire time. Akali and Senna pushed and took 2 towers and the inhib. The enemy team didn't even get the dragon. And even if they did, it wouldn't be anywhere near worth it, who cares? But that's not all they lost. Remember, dragon is always a tempo loss, so now the enemy team has to recall, and they have no control of the map because mid-wave is shoved all the way into their base now. Look what kind of situation that creates. Elise gets killed trying to get back to base because she tried to walk instead of recall. Then they go to Baron. Now the enemy team is forced to face check since they have no vision, as all of their wards are guaranteed to be around dragon, and this just leads to free picks and a free Baron. And this is all because they were so obsessed with an objective that isn't even a win condition. At this point, you should get the idea. Alright guys, I know a lot of you won't believe me here, and that's fine. The ones that do believe me and use this advice will win so many more games because of it, and then they'll come back to this video and comment how well it worked. Happens to every single person I teach this to. And you know what else works? Our hyper improvement platform at skillcap.com. Don't believe me? Well, it's completely risk-free to try it out, as you're kept safe with Rank Up Insurance. If you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCap, then you get your money back, no questions asked. So check us out with the link in the description below and get the rank you've always wanted. We here at SkillCap want to thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.